Anyone making content online should understand this very important main concept about content so that they make better content in the future, either it be an online business, a personal brand, or a content creator. The moment you understand this main concept that I'm going to be talking about in this video, which is the content funnel in general, you will be able to make better videos for YouTube and also for social media in general. Okay, now there's a difference between content that gets you views and content that actually moves someone towards a buying decision. So there's three types of content that you will be making in general, according to this content funnel that you can see here. Okay, the first type is the top of funnel content, this blue one right here. And the second one is middle of funnel, and the third one is bottom of the funnel. Now, each of these pieces of content that you make differ in terms of the goal that you want to achieve with them and the style of content and how broad the content is. The first one is top of funnel content. Now, this content right here is the content whose main purpose is to attract new eyes to your online presence, basically. Now, what I mean by this is basically to build more reach towards your online presence with this content. And these are broad topics with high reach. They are relevant to new eyes, so basically to anyone who is hearing of you for their first time online and they are new to your content and they don't know who you are yet. And it is basically entertaining content or lifestyle content in which you show your lifestyle, basically vlogs or personal stories and anything else that could help build your personal brand or personal presence and basically let people know more about you and connect with you without making them put in any effort. So this is basically general topic in which you don't dive deep into anything. It is basically broad topics that entertain your viewers in the first stage. Now, this content, when you make it, you shouldn't ask for anything, basically. You shouldn't mention any offer or any product that you're selling or any service that you could be delivering. You should basically be making this content only with reach in mind, to reach new audience who can connect with you and see and watch your content for the first time. Now, in order to explain these three types of content, I will be giving an example of someone doing Amazon FBA coaching online. And he is basically making content around his offer, but he is also building a personal brand around everything. So an example of a video that someone doing Amazon FBA coaching could make is this. This almost made me quit buying anything online. In this video, he's basically talking about a personal experience, which is very broad, of when he dealt with a bad delivery of product or it wasn't what he ordered. And basically, he explains this to everyone watching the video. Now, you can see that when he makes this video, this doesn't only talk to people who do Amazon FBA or own an online store or do e-commerce. This is basically communicating with anyone who has had any experience ordering things online. So it is broad and it is actually interesting for anyone surfing online and seeing his video about that. So he will attract more eyes and build more awareness. That's the main goal of top of funnel content. Moving on, you go to the next stage, which is basically middle of funnel. And the main goal of this type of content is to nurture your audience, basically. So you show your expertise and show what you can do online and what you're good at, basically. And you build trust and authority. When people see you basically educating them, because you educate your viewers here, when you educate them, you are building trust. Now they know that you're trustworthy, you know what you're talking about, and basically you're building authority with this content. You're nurturing your audience doing so. And in this type of content, you solve niche problems. So you already know what your audience are dealing with, what problems do they have. And in this part of content, you basically solve their problems and talk about actionable solutions for their problems that they can implement. Now, I'll give you two examples for the same Amazon FBA coach that he could be making. One video is to basically talk about how to find high demand Amazon FBA products. You can see that this is a problem that his audience could be suffering from. And he is basically educating them and giving them actionable advice. Another example would be a video titled, "The Safest Way to Get Reviews on Amazon." This is also another problem that they could be suffering from. And basically, in this video, he will be giving them actionable advice and helping them for free, building trust and authority doing so. So these are great examples of middle of funnel content that you should be doing. And the third and final part of content which you should be doing the least of, because if you can see, the broadest part of this content is actually the top of funnel, and then comes the middle of funnel, and then comes the bottom of funnel, which is very specific, and you make few content of bottom of funnel. In this part of your content, these videos, for example, you basically either do an offer breakdown, breaking down how you can help your audience, basically, or you do a client interview in which you basically show your expertise and the fact that you have helped other people like them before. Doing so, you will basically be nudging your leads and the people watching your content towards reaching out. So you're basically slowly but surely driving them to become your customers, which is the end goal of making business video content, basically. Now, I always encourage that you don't spam this, you don't make lots of this. As I mentioned, this is a minority of your content. I would encourage a percentage of around 10% of you actually mentioning your offer and actually selling stuff, because you aren't doing ads here. You're making content, you're providing value, you're educating, entertaining, inspiring people. And from time to time, you go ahead and make some bottom of funnel content in which you actually promote your offer. So an example of a bottom of funnel content that the Amazon FBA coach could be making is a video titled "From 2K to 120K profit on Amazon, proven process." This is a great title of a case study that would basically prove his offer and maybe even drive him more inbound messages that could end up in deals for his business. Moving on, if you are only making top of funnel content, which I mentioned are general content in which you entertain and inspire and you're basically showing your lifestyle and everything, if you only make those, you will end up being just an influencer, because there is nowhere that you are heading. Basically, you're just making content for the sake of it at that stage, really. And if you only make middle of funnel content, congrats, you're now just a guru, basically educating your audience and showing them actionable advice and basically showing off data and statistics and analytics, and you're basically becoming a teacher at that stage, or a guru. And if you only make bottom of funnel content, which in my opinion is the worst case scenario, you have become a portable ad, really. You're actually being selfish because you're constantly selling online, and that's not what content is for. You should be doing all three together, and that's how content should be used, really. Before I get into the part where I explain how does this actually help with businesses and doing business online, you should know that when a stranger gets into your content, basically, they enter from the top of funnel content. And some of those audience actually get nurtured with your middle of funnel content, and some of those get into your bottom of funnel content and you convert them into paying clients. So that's the journey. But in order for you to generate paying clients right here, you will need to have thousands, if not millions, of new eyes on your offer and your personal brand all the time. That's why you should be making all three stages of content and not focusing on only one of them, because this right here is the journey that your viewers go through. First, they are unaware, so they don't know that they have a certain problem. In the case of the Amazon FBA that I mentioned, there are problems that they struggle with. They are struggling with getting reviews, they are struggling with doing better SEO so that they end up in the first pages and so on. Basically, they are not aware. With your content, you slowly but surely make them more aware of their problems until they become problem aware. The next step is that they become solution aware, in which they become aware that there is a solution for their problem. There are steps to take or investments to make or basically changes to make in the way that they process and the way that they operate that would end up fixing their problem. The next step is that you make them product aware, basically showing that your solution could work for them and your product or your service that you could be delivering for them is the best thing that they could do in order to solve their problem. Now, once you do that, they become most aware, and that is where they are ready to buy. They are ready to convert. That's what your bottom of funnel content does, by the way. So now that you do that, you could basically hit them up with a quick DM, and this is a very easy close to make right now, because now they are most aware. That is actually how content helps you with your business. And this way you can scale your business so fast that it feels haram. The real unfair advantage of all the content situation is building parasocial trust, because now that the viewers have been viewing your content for a while, they basically know who you are, they know what problems do you solve, they know basically how you think and everything else about it. So now they actually trust you without you ever communicating directly with them. They feel like they've known you for ages. And this is a very big advantage of making content in this way, meaning that viewers who have been watching your videos feel like they've known you for years without ever speaking to you or without you ever speaking directly to them. This is a huge plus, by the way. Now, this is basically it. Now you're ready to make content the right way. This is basically the content funnel that everyone is talking about, explained. Now you're set up, and if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram. And in order to see my entire system, I've already made another separate video diving deep into how it actually works. So make sure that you watch that video next, and see you soon.